In the past, I have done a less than stellar job of expressing my problems with the left. The reason for this is because I get frustrated when I feel as though I am arguing with people who are on my side. So I can argue with Nazis forever. I love it. It is very satisfying to me, no matter what they say. They can make fun of my weight, my appearance. They can call me a Jew. They can say I don't care. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. I want them dead, of course, but I do enjoy it. It's a fun game. It's not as fun for me when I'm arguing with people who are on the left. It's not as fun to be called transphobic by a trans person who is on the left. It's not as fun to be called a reactionary by someone who is on the left. It's not as much fun for me. Not just because these things are lies. They are, but the Nazis lie too. It's also because I really like left unity. I really like it. I like the idea of us getting along, you know? We can't get along with everyone, obviously. I mean, there are always going to be people we can't get along with. That's fine. I probably don't want like virulent racists in my midst. I don't want Nazbols here, you know? Just because somebody believes in a proletarian revolution doesn't necessarily mean I want them on the left, you know? But I think we could do more than we're currently doing, you know? And I want to talk once and for all. I think this is, I want to put it, we're putting it down on paper, okay? The 4 main problems that I have with the left today. 4 main problems. And we're going to talk about each one. And I'm going to try and do it in a way that does not ostracize the perspectives of those who typically disagree with me. Okay? That's the goal. All right? Now, before we do that, first things first, obviously, I have my own perspectives on this. Some people are going to disagree. The perspectives I lend to this are just a product of my admittedly, let's be fair, pretty successful ongoing effort to de-radicalize people and bring them over onto the left. Credit where credit's due. I do some things pretty well. And there are reasons why I do those things pretty well. I think those reasons are very, very, very important too, because if we applied them more broadly, I think we would see a greater likelihood of the left succeeding. And when I say the left succeeding, I don't mean of me making more money on Patreon or of me getting more donos or views or whatever. I don't even mean of BreadTube getting bigger. I mean making the left succeed in the sense that increasing the likelihood that we successfully build class consciousness, engage in a proletarian revolution down the line, and defend and advocate for the equality of marginalized communities that have typically found shelter from within the left. You blacks, you gays, you femoids, you trans people. These people. I don't want the left to succeed in some arbitrary, like, bland ideological... No, I want it to succeed because there are people and positions that I care about. And when I talk about the left, I'm mostly talking about the online English-speaking left. I only speak English. I don't know what the fuck you crazy fucking Portuguese speakers are up to. You fucking wild and out. I don't fucking know what you're up to. Germans? Check yourself, because I can't. I speak English. And I mostly talk about online because whether we like it or not, the internet currently is the front arm of most radicalization going on these days, particularly in the developed world. I mean, of course it is. Think about it. Steve Bannon was, you know, basically a white nationalist, was in Trump's cabinet, fucking Breitbart, and the collaboration with the presidential administration, the extent to which places like Poll and 8chan have influenced like real electoral politics, the fact that the risks involved with being a marginalized community or a member thereof are increasing in large part in tandem with propagandizing that stems from these online circles, and the fact that a lot of left-leaning radicalization is coming from, well, online, from our spaces, from BreadTube, from what I do, from what ContraPoints and Sean and Ollie do. So the internet's important. The online left is broken. it's not functioning very well. I don't know if you've noticed, but the alt-right pipeline is a nearly flawless construction, and it has points that can take you from being an edgy high school libertarian, which a lot of high schoolers are, especially white boys, I would know, all the way over to being a literal neo-Nazi. And it's very easy to move in that direction. It's Gamergate really made it very apparent. It made it very transparent, in fact, this process, you know? It's very easy. First, you know, you're young, you're edgy, you're irreverent, you know, maybe every once, you know, you call people like fags or whatever, and you know, you're edgy. But you're not necessarily a bad person. I know this, a lot of people don't believe it's possible to be a good person but also occasionally say slurs. I invite you to explore the world. I'm very sorry that your moral compass is so binary, but I can tell you there are people out there who will sometimes say fag, but are also fundamentally good people with decent politics, you know? But it starts with the anti-SJW road online, you know? It starts with people telling you that people are trying to take away your freedom of speech, and you go on and you watch the Thunderfoots, and you watch the Quarterings, and you watch the Sargon, and Sargon has literally been described as being a good pipeline to the alt-right, because if you're anti-SJW, that usually means you're reactionary, and if you're reactionary, that usually means you're going to side on the reactionary ends of politics, no matter how far extreme that goes. Sometimes that just means not using proper pronouns for trans people. Horrible, but not as bad as believing that America should be a white ethno-state. I assume we could agree on that, right? Not trying to alienate my trans audience or anything. Probably a little worse. White ethno-states? In my opinion, I don't know. And then you go and who is the one stopping the white ethno-state from happening? Well, it is of course the Jews. It is always the Jews. They have this figured out. They have it figured out. And I want to do the same. I want my own pipeline. Not me. I mean, I want our pipeline. And it needs to be better. And we need to learn from the lessons that the reactionaries, taught us. They did a good job building that system. They built a machine designed to make apolitical people neo-reactionaries in a very short period of time with very minimal individual monetary investment. That's unbelievably impressive. And much as were I some engineer tasked with dismantling the war machines of the Third Reich back in World War II, I now go and say, hey, fuck those guys, but also, you know, they had a couple of good ideas when it came to implementation. They had a good system for achieving their very bad goals. And that's what I want to talk to you about. How do we build a more functional left, framed as a paint stream? Let's go, boys. I have 4 main problems with the left. 4 of them, okay? 4. Count it. 4, not 3, not 5. 4 problems. And we're going to talk about all of them, okay? I'm going to break this down into 4 videos when I release them, because these are going to be 4 separate points that I'll illustrate in 4 separate ways. And also because I love getting my 38 cents ad revenue per video. I love it. I love that ad revenue. I love it. All my videos get demonetized. Gatekeeping. The tendency for leftists, particularly online, to exclude other people from the left because they do not meet certain requirements. That's number 1. I have numbers 2 through 4 written down here on my phone so I didn't forget them. The second one, purity testing or woke scolding. They're basically the same thing, or at least they overlap so heavily that I can talk about them in the same subject. That would mean purity testing, woke scolding, the process by which within a given social group you find accolades in testing other people's ideological purity. So how woke are you, you know, so on and so forth. And there tend to be social consequences for not doing that. This is a thing that happens. Come on. I've been in leftist spaces for a long time online. And by a long time, I mean 6 years. which is longer than a lot of you have, so don't laugh, okay? A lot of you are fucking Zoomers. A lot of you came in after Trump. Don't you fucking laugh at me. This is the thing that happens. Sometimes there will be people who will base their identities around just trying to be like really good, excellent, perfect lefties. And then, you know, and one of the ways in which you do that is you show that you're better than other people. You're more of a lefty than other people. I could do this too. Imagine, like, you can imagine that. What if I'm in like a talk show or something? I've done like a little podcast talk show, you know, and I'm with 4 other dudes there, you know, and we're all just sort of like, yeah, we're all pretty cool. And issue of trans rights come up, you know, we love trans people and we love trans people. We all love trans people here, don't we? Don't we, folks? We all love trans people here. And I, in an effort to sort of discursively produce a greater degree of moral purity than the other people there, I'm like, well, you know, not only do I believe trans people should be respected, we should use their pronouns, I believe the concept of gender itself is oppressive, most so to trans people, and that it should be abolished completely in favor of a more more diluted, more specific, individualistic system of identification that lends all respect to people and their identities, no matter how they may choose. Like, or something like that, you know? How pro-trans are you? I'm on HRT right now, bitch. I'm fucking injecting. Is it still HRT if I'm taking testosterone as a cis dude? I don't know. I'm not running test cycles right now, okay? Listen, I'm all natty. Whatever. And woke scolding basically kind of fits under the same parameter. Then we have cancel culture. Everyone, hey, people love to talk about it. You seen those Netflix comedy specials? Oh boy, yes you have. By which I mean you probably haven't because you've heard their dog shit. I watched a few of them for you. Dave Chappelle had its moments. Some of I mean, it's Dave Chappelle, so he's a funny guy. It had some pretty bad points too. A lot of the other ones, really fucking bad. Not worth your time. Incredible to me that they got a Netflix special. But then again, what's his name? Jeff Dunham? Has been popular for decades. He's the puppet guy, right? The racist puppet guy? Like, you fucking kidding me? Opening up a phone call with Dear Citizen. Dear God. Anyway, Jeff Dunham with he's got like yes, this is my Chinese man puppet. Ching chong. Like, I think that's like actually his humor, right? And he has like he's got like the jihadi guy, and Allahu Akbar, infidel. Like I don't fucking know. I saw a special of his once, and I wanted to kill myself because the thought of sharing a planet with people who thought it was funny. I don't know. But cancel culture is a real thing. It's a real thing that exists. I want to talk to you about it, okay? And last but not least, oversensitivity. Oversensitivity. That's probably going to be the one that's going to be most difficult to talk about because it's not so much a specific negative act as it is an attitude that blankets everything we do on the left. We are sensitive here on the left. And by we I mean you. Fuck, I'm not even remotely. I'm rough like sandpaper, baby. But there are a lot of folks who are real sensitive, okay? Let's get started. Right now. Not a moment to lose. We're going to straighten ourselves up. Check that out. Kablamo. Wow. Whew, crack the knuckies. That means knuckles. That sounded like a racial slur, didn't it? Here we go. Paint stream. Let's do it. Gatekeeping. I talked about this recently, okay? I talked about gatekeeping as a concept, all right? It kind of fucking triggers me. Let's how do I say this? Let's build a spectrum, okay? We're going to build a beautiful, beautiful axis. Okay? Do you see that? So here's what we're going to do. Okay? Watch this. Over here is the left, and over here is the right. Do you see that? Left and right, okay? But up here, top, bottom, we're not going to deal with authoritarianism, libertarianism right now, okay? What we're talking about right here is being sensitive and being insensitive, okay? Now, by insensitive, I don't mean you're running around saying the N-word or anything. I just mean you don't get bothered by stuff that much, okay? Now, here's something that really fucking bothers me, okay? We're going to phrase this really fucking calmly, okay? And it's going to be super chill. Why the fuck can't you coalition build? Why are you so fucking bad at it? This is insane to me. I'm sorry, I went to college, okay? My gigantic, colossal fucking meat brain, maybe there's too much in here for you to fucking pick up on. Why are people in the left who are sensitive, here, black line, up here, why are people up here? You're fucking woke scolds on Twitter. Okay, we're calming it down a little bit, but only a little bit. Why are the people who are up here? Okay, these are the people with that fucking, what, with the fucking, everyone sees this avatar. Where's that avatar? Where it's the flag in the background and it's like the little person, sometimes they hold a little flag right here, you know? You know what I mean? And everyone has them right now. It's some variation of that shit. It's the fucking character customizer. Everyone has seen that shit, okay? Everyone has seen that shit now. I swear to fucking God. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? P-Crew? Is it P-Crew? Hold on. Okay. It's this fucking thing. Right here. This. If you have this type of avatar on Twitter, there is an 87.23% chance that you need to respect yourself and live a long and happy life and listen to me, okay? Because I have some wisdom to impart to you, all right? I have some fucking wisdom to impart to you right now. Listen the fuck up. I am so sick, and it is cute, yeah. I am so sick and fucking tired of gatekeeping. Holy shit. If you listen to some people online, you would believe that the left is here, that this is the left, right there, that that's it, the entirety of the left, okay? But this is not the case. Let us build out in strata. Where am I, okay? Well, I'm probably somewhere like here. I don't know if you fuckers have noticed. I get fucking told I'm a reactionary or a radlib by a lot of people, and then I look at their shit. I'm way to the fucking left of these people. I'm way to the fucking left of these people. I'm like really fucking far left compared to a lot of people. I'm also not particularly sensitive. I just, you know, I don't fucking care. I'm good. I'm a cis fucking white dude, okay? I had really nice, respectful, loving parents when I grew up. I don't have a lot of trauma that I need to process, all right? I'm doing good. Here's fucking me. How do we draw me? I'm a V. There I am, okay? There are people on the left who will unironically argue that I'm not on the left. Listen, I'm sorry if I'm advocating for my own interest here, okay? I'm sorry if I'm making it sound like I'm doing this for my own benefit, but if you're unironically arguing that I, for the entirety of my online persona for the past 5 years has been dedicated to building socialism, I fucking started out arguing in favor of socialism with destiny at every point I could get, and now I have my own thing, and I'm doing it even more now. If you unironically believe I'm not the left, I have to wonder, what do you think the left is? Because there are greater consequences for you excluding me. You realize that, right? Do you know why I do what I do? It's not just because I love making billions of dollars every time I stream and getting hot fucking twunk ass sent to me on my Discord DMs, okay? That's not just the reason why. It's one of the reasons why, but it's not the entirety of the reason why. The real reason why is because it hurts my fucking feelings when I see people say that people like me can't be on the left, when people act as though masculine people can't be on the left, or when people act like edgy people can't be on the left, or when people act like, sometimes, anarchists can't be on the left, so that's mostly a tanky thing. This shit, like, actually fucking triggers me. I'm secure in my position on the left. Like, you can't take that from me. But what about the people who could be on the left who aren't? What about the people who might be leftists or might consider themselves leftists but aren't because we're excluding them? If you take this absolute center point to be like a completely apolitical person at 15 years old, think of how much easier the right's job is than them. For one, the right will take anyone. If you're a neo-Nazi, if you believe, like literally you believe that a Jewish conspiracy is trying to destroy the white man, you will go over to people who are just like, I don't really like it when Democrats threaten they're gonna take my guns. You're gonna fucking slurp this person up, because Nazis and reactionaries and fascists and all of these other people are much better at coalition building than we are. And you'll notice, by the way, there's not a bunch of fucking factionary gatekeeping within the right, is there now? Do you know why there isn't? Because it is possible to have a very broad political movement with a fuck ton of different elements and social spaces and values that nonetheless move towards a collectively achievable, desirable goal. The right is much more inclusive than the left. And I say that with the greatest irony I can possibly, I toss that phrase out to you, and I mean it sincerely. The right is much more inclusive than the left. 100%. Now, you can be trans and be in the right. Do you have any idea how many 16-year-old trans Nazis I see fucking rummaging around in some of the politics discords that I'm in? It's really weird. There are spaces for that. There are spaces to be a Nazi trans girl or a Nazi femboy or a Nazi gay. Milo Yiannopoulos was a fucking miscegenating gay man, and he worked with Nazis until it became politically inefficacious to do so. They'll take anyone, and it doesn't hurt their movement. It doesn't hurt anyone there. It only benefits them because they are so asynchronistic in the way in which they pursue their goals. There are some people who are fighting for the right who are arguing that, oh, well, if you're born here in America, you're an American, and that's all I care about. Now just fight out against them libs and dems who are trying to steal your guns. And there are people on the right who are saying, listen, if you were born here in America, as long as you don't have Negro blood, you're fine. You're with us. But if you are, you're only here because the Jew allows you to. And these people will work together. They'll work together. They form the same political caucuses. There are social spaces where these people cohabitate and interact. There's fighting, sure, but it doesn't keep them from... Fucking Candace Owens got invited to a congressional panel on white supremacy a few days ago. Candace Owens! Pro-Hitler Candace Owens. Hitler was fine until he left the borders of his country. Candace Owens. People who are saying the Nazis were leftists. You could be talking to a Nazi, or you could be talking to your average Republican. It's wild. They'll do anything. Why can't we learn from that? We don't have, guys, I'm not saying, I've said this recently in a stream, but I need to illustrate this again. I'm not saying, like, we need to go out there and find this fucking dude over here who believes that, like, blacks smell bad and, like, ghetto hoes are, like, stealing welfare. We don't need that shit. I'm not saying we need that fucking shit in our lives or whatever, but, like, here's a good start. Maybe I, who literally dedicate my persona to arguing for like leftist and progressive politics, maybe if I'm not good enough to fit in your lefty clubhouse, you might have a fucking problem. What about this? And I said this before, but I gotta say it again. If you're sensitive, and there are a lot of sensitive people, okay? There are a lot of sensitive people on the left. A lot of sensitive people on the left, all right? And we'll talk about that. But if you're sensitive, and you're up here, if you're like if you're like trans or whatever, and I'm not speaking disparagingly when I call you trans. Trans people have every right to be more sensitive on average than cis people, and they generally are. You have a lot more to deal with, okay? But it is nonetheless something that happens. Yeah, like, let's be real. Let's not deny facts. Let's not deny reality here. Trans people tend to be pretty sensitive online, at least more so than the fucking alternative, all right? Being cis. If you're up here and you want, okay, to win, if you want to win, then here's what you need to do. And by you, I mean the left. If you want the left to win so you don't fucking die, here's what you need to do. Keep this little space for yourself. This can be your own little Twitter and Discord groups, okay? And these will all be very progressive, everyone can ask each other's pronouns when they come in. And I'm not disparaging this. This is something you're free to do. Godspeed. Everyone can ask each other's pronouns. Everyone can be really, really nice to one another. And you can, like, if someone in there calls someone else an idiot, you can be like, hey, I don't really like the use of that word. It has ties to ableism. Or, well, I guess it just is ableism. It's not even really ties to ableism. Okay. Do this. But then you need to go collectively as a group. This is not enough to beat out this. Hey, here's a message. If this is where your left begins and ends, if you're one of these like little sensitive people who just has your own community and you don't really like other people because they're like a little problematic, you're all going to die. We're legit within a few decades of social cataclysms that may mean the death of all of us, whether by climate change, nuclear war, fucking military proliferation, or fascism rising within our countries. And you're going to die first. I get to live longer than you. I'm strong. I'm bigger than you. I'm white. I'm a man. I'm cis. I'm well off. I will outlive you. Do you really want that? Do you want my smug, jeering fucking smile to be presiding over your grave as I'm sent to go dig up the hole for the next fucking group of trans cuties to be fucking thrown into? Absolutely fucking not. I want to live with you. All right? I want to survive with you. You will die on your own. So here's what you need to do. You need to say, hey, hello, maybe this can be our social space. Maybe we can include more people. Wow. Maybe we can say, hey, maybe this dude over here, maybe this fucker over here is pretty woke or whatever, but they don't believe in the revolution. They believe we can reform our way, okay? Look, they're more sensitive, but they're not as far left. Cool, whatever. I would rather have a reformist feel as though they can be included in our system than one who feels as though they cannot. What about down here? What if we skate it out a little further? What about this person? This person loves saying faggot. Hey, chat, say it with me. Do you know why you should? Really quick. Hey, in chat, I want to see a wave of faggot. You know why? We're destigmatizing it right here in this community specifically. This is a far left community. I'll say it with you. Faggot. You're probably gay too, right? I'm gay. I can say it. That's right. This one time. You get this one fucking time. One fucking time. I'm gay. You're probably gay. Statistically speaking, if you follow me, you're probably some kind of queer, right? You get this one. All right, stop. That's it. We're done. We did it. That was the one time. You get it that one time. And hey, a lot of you who just said that, a lot of you are still leftists. It didn't get blown out of you. Do you see? We're still left here. What if this person down here loves saying fag or whatever? They don't like target gay people and say it. They just say it. Or like this person says like retarded or whatever. I would rather have these people exist within the left than exist elsewhere. Because you know what happens to any space that we don't spread ourselves to? Do you know what happens to every space we don't exert our political will in? You know what happens, don't you? Somebody else fills it up for you. Every single time. When you make the decision to look at a person or a group of people and say, I don't know if I want them here. I don't know if they're right for us. You are leaving them to the right. Now you don't have to go over here. You don't have to I'm not saying go recruit fucking Nazis or whatever, okay? But you have to realize, and this is how it works. This is how coalition building works. You know who understood this? Malcolm X understood this. Martin Luther King Jr. understood this. You need to go read about what they did when they were coalition building, particularly in black neighborhoods or in poor neighborhoods that were Latin. They would work together with people who were very different, sometimes who were even like centrist or right-leaning, as long as they had a shared interest. Dr. Martin Luther King realized, the Black Panthers realized, they were black. Many of these more like conservative like gangs in certain areas in the southern U.S. were Latin. They weren't socialists there, but they were both victims of white supremacy, and they worked together, and their work beget results. I hear this all the time from people who defend gatekeeping. They'll say like, oh yeah, so we should let a few shitty white boys in at the expense of everyone else. No, whose expense? The white boys are going to exist whether or not you invite them into the left. I see people do this. They're like, like this is how they envision it. Like, oh, this person says fag, and if we invite them into the left, then all of the millions of marginalized fucking minority community people that are already in the left are going to be blown out by the fag word, and they're all gonna fucking die because it'll be infected. You'll infect the left. This is not how it works. It's not how anything works. Why do you not read? I can't believe I'm telling other people to read. This is the basic coalition. This is high school level, okay? This person over here is going to be doing their shit one way or another. Would you rather have them included in the left right over here, or bring them in, include them into the left, so they interact with people who are further left than them, so they interact with people who might encourage them to move closer to the left? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but generally speaking, when you include people in a social space, they radicalize further into the more extreme elements of that social space. That's how that works in the right and the left. The right and the left. And you make this person feel included into the left, they're now going to have an access to social spaces and resources, which will maybe say like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be saying fag all the time, you know? And they'll probably move further to the left. They're not gonna pull the entire fucking left right with them. That has never fucking happened. The right knows this. Because if the right gets a hold of this person, if the right feels as though they can move in on these communities to consume them, this person is going to start moving further fucking right. Oh, well, of course I can say fag. I'm still a leftist. And then you get to over here. Well, I don't really know about like socialism or Bernie Sanders or whatever, but like fag doesn't hurt anyone. And then you go over here and you start reading fucking poll degeneracy threads and how fucking gay people are more likely to rape children or whatever. And then you go further and further and further. This is how political radicalization works. This is how politics works. If you don't feel and you don't like that, you don't deserve to be a part of like the actual fucking like praxis space for the left. You don't deserve it because you're hurting us. And it's mostly these people. These people set the tone. They're basically like the far left version of the center, like civility police. The people like the political pundits who exist here in the center. So if a black person goes on TV and goes like, man, fuck white people, fuck that system, fuck that shit, I'm not dealing with that. You people fuck us over all the time. This person, we can say they're over here, is going to get fucking excluded from daytime television airings because they don't fall within this like broad circle of acceptable like civil politics. This is something that libs do. And this is kind of like that. These people set a barrier around them of acceptable discourse, and people outside of it aren't just not with them, they're not even allowed to share the same social space. And it's really fucking frustrating. I just want you guys to fucking live. I'm really, really fucking sorry, but in an era where, like, Putin is, like, legitimately destabilizing Western democracies across Europe and in several other places around the world, in an era where we have basically a Nazi sympathizer as a president, in an era where climate change is going to force revolutions on us within the next few decades, I really do not want my ability to coalition build to be limited by the social inclination of people who operate in like the extreme, completely impractical, far fucking end of like civil leftist discourse. Here's the real answer. We, the left, need to find ways to reach everybody we can. Everyone. We need to take these spaces back from them. We let the right have everything. We let the right have YouTube. We let the right have every single fucking avenue by which young people are introduced to political radicalization. We gave it to them. Can you imagine if people were trying to make lefty YouTube channels and people who were up here were like, well, no, why would we want YouTubers to follow our cause? Real leftists are only on Tumblr and Twitter and such. YouTube is full of fash reactionaries. Why would we try to reach that audience? Why do you want to degrade what the left is? That is literally what you're doing. It is every bit as insane, every bit as myopic, every bit as counterproductive, and every bit as self-destructive, as cannibalistic, as saying that you aren't interested in going out into the streets to like protest for unionization or to hand out pamphlets for your local leftist organization because there's a decent chance the people you meet out there are going to have weird views on trans people. It's so myopic, it makes me want to die. We need to take spaces back from people. We need to take spaces back from the right. We need to encroach further and further outward. We need to broaden the range of acceptable discourse for what it means to be a leftist. This is what I do. This is what I want to do. Maybe you dislike me. I'm pretty far left. I want to show people that I'm a way to be left. You can be masculine and edgy and still be leftist. Am I perfect? No, of course. I never argued that I'm perfect, but I'm definitely leftist. And I meaningfully fight against all of the things you're fighting against. And very often I do it better than you ever could. And the reason for that is because I understand coalition building better than you. You, of course, being the imagined, woke scolder. I don't know who the fuck I'm talking to. Look at this. If I'm over here, I want to radiate outwards, reach broader and broader audiences, convince larger and larger groups of people that it is possible to be like them, but also to be a leftist. Hey, maybe they've got some flaws. Maybe they say slurs from time to time. Maybe they have weird views about certain social minorities. Those are bad things, absolutely. But they're not going to have their minds changed by being left out into the dirt so some fucking Nazi can come and radicalize them. They're going to have their minds changed by meeting people who are willing to talk with them, to chat with them. And that's a good thing. We should want that. Because I don't want to die. I don't want to die in a hole. I don't want to. I want the left to win. And in order for us to win, we have to coalition build. We have to not gatekeep. This is a legitimate... I'm not gonna, two chains you here. This is a legitimate issue the left has a serious problem with. Right now, there are literally millions of people who might have been leftists who weren't able to become leftists because their first experience with left culture online was incredibly exclusionary. So they turned towards a culture that asked nothing of them. Reactionary culture. You don't have to change or do anything to be accepted into those circles. But if they had maybe just been given a little bit more charitability, a little bit more time to grow and improve, a little bit more space to occupy, maybe that could have turned out differently. Maybe it could have been that the majority of fucking young white people's introduction to political, radicalization wasn't Ben Shapiro owns SJW compilation number 27 videos. Maybe that didn't have to be how most people get into politics. But if your only experience with the left have been people who've kind of lived up to the right's caricature of SJWs, and the right asks literally nothing of you except that you meme hard in their communities, you're going to get bad outcomes. And you might think, and I heard this once before, when I last talked about this, somebody said, well, why do we even need those shitty white boys? Because I was a shitty white boy. Because a lot of people in my chat were shitty white boys. Because a lot of people on Earth are shitty white boys. And being a shitty white boy is the first step towards being a not shitty white boy. And then, through the encroachment of time, a non-shitty white man. Those people are going to exist whether you accept them into your spaces or not. But if they're in your spaces, you have the opportunity to control what they think, at least to some extent, to show them a better way of being a person. If you don't, you can't. It's really that simple. This isn't a problem you can just close your eyes and turn away your head from. It's not going to fix anything. Every single day, hundreds of thousands of people who might otherwise be leftists are set down paths that will lead them further towards reactionary values. Some of them are going to end up thinking trans people are degenerates. Some of them are going to end up believing America should be a white ethno-state. Some of them are going to end up believing that Jews control the media and the big businesses and the politicians. We can fix those things, but it's going to require we get our hands a little bit dirty. If you don't want to do that work, if you want to stay in your own, more sensitive, safety space kind of thing, that's fine. You have every right to do so. But don't get in my way when I'm trying to do the work you can't do. And don't get in the way of other people like me when they're trying to do the same. That's all I ask.